WHYR-LP 96.9 FM, Baton Rouge Community Radio.
This station is streaming online at WHYR.org.
Good morning, sports fans. You're listening to 96.9 FM WHYR-LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio. This is Eric Hatfield along with Coach Perry Daniels, and we are here to bring you the latest, the greatest, the best, and the most entertaining in high school, college, and professional sports. You are listening to Louisiana All-American Sports. All right, Eric, so let's jump right into this thing, man. Big night for high school sports last night as all schools wrapped up the regular season. This was week 10 in Louisiana for high school sports. We now have some district champions. Some districts have been determined. Oh, yeah. Some still have not been determined who's the best team in the district.
We have a few coins to flip, a little bit to determine, some pretzels to meet out. We always talk about 5A being a snarled mess, and that snarled mess has continued.
That's right, that's right. So let's start there. Catholic High went down to Gonzales last night, and they put it on East Ascension. East Ascension just had a great year, but they do not share in the District 5 5A championship at all. 2 losses for East Ascension, only 1 loss in the district for Catholic High. Catholic High ended up winning the game 31-14 last night. There was a little controversy in the game, whether it was 3rd down or 4th down. They ran the play. The referees got together, decided that it was 4th down.
Whoa.
And gave the ball to Catholic High.
Whoa, a phantom turnover on downs.
A phantom turnover on downs. Well, I'm not sure. Coach Bourgeois for the East Ascension Spartans says that he is adamant it was only 3rd down. He's got the play-by-play to prove it, and he can't understand why the referees gave the ball to Catholic High.
This, if you're listening, is cause to get the absolutely free services of LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com to come and bring your game to the community, as we would have been available to at least replay our commentary, our sparkling commentary, and at least we know what down it is.
That's right. We know what down it is.
I mean, we put a man on the moon, right? We put a man on the moon. We've got stem cell research. We got cars that are running on corn oil or whatever it is, and we can't figure out if it's 3rd or 4th down. Remarkable.
So that makes Catholic High 8-2 on the season, 4-1 in the district. That makes East Ascension 8-2 on the season. However, they're 3-2 in the district. They're going to have to settle for 2nd place as Catholic High gets a share of the district championship with the 31-14 victory over the East Ascension Spartans. Now, the co-champion in that District 5 5A district is the Dutchtown Griffins. They played a 5-overtime thriller last night against Santa Ma.
Well, those Griffins must be tough. Well, am I not surprised at all by that? I mean, you have a backyard brawl pretty much, and that it was determined. What time the game? I mean, look, the typical game get in between 9:30, 10 o'clock. Was it like midnight? Was it even Friday when the game ended?
It had to be. We've seen Santa Ma, the way that they throw that ball. Right. You know that game didn't end until about 11 o'clock.
Right. Realistically.
Yeah. So Dutchtown pulls out the victory, 53-50.
Good grief.
53-50. They end up the season with an 8-2 record, 4-1 in the district. Santa Ma 6-4 on the year, 2-3 in district. Dutchtown gains a share of the 5 5A district title.
Was that game decided on free throws, 53-50? My goodness. Obviously, it was a field goal that decided it, but
some high schools don't score that much in basketball.
Right.
53-50. So that's going to make this year in Louisiana. We're taking a different approach with our football playoffs. The what they call select schools, traditionally private schools, some charter schools, are in the select classification. the public schools are all grouped together. Some public schools, such as a Scotlandville, are grouped in that select school because they have an opportunity to determine who comes to their school based on the academic programs that they have. So this means that the Griffins will be the top seed from 5A for the public schools. Dutchtown's a public school, non-select. But Catholic High is the top seed for the select schools. They're a private school, and they're going to be the top seed from 5A. Now, overall, in classification 5A, I'm not exactly sure who's going to be the number one seed. The seedings come out tomorrow afternoon for all you high school sports fans. You can get that information tomorrow to find out where your favorite team is headed next Friday night for the first round of the LHSAA playoffs.
343-9927, 343-9927, area code 225 if you want to get in on the conversation. Give us a call.
Let's move on to WHYR and Nick Brossette. I've got a phenomenal stat here, and most people around the country aren't going to understand this stat. This running back by the name of Nick Brossette for the WHYR Cubs last night scored his 120th high school touchdown.
Okay. It's too bad we're not streaming, on Ustream, because if you can see my face right now, it's a look of shock and awe.
120th high school touchdown last night. Nick Brossette, the LSU committee, he'll be in the purple and gold. He broke Kenny Hilliard's, another LSU player's record. Kenny Hilliard held the record with 118 touchdowns in his career. And now Nick Brossette's the new touchdown reigning champion for Louisiana high school athletics.
Well, we got to see Nick Brossette earlier this year at Doug Williams Stadium against the Southern Lab Kittens, and he really was a man among boys out there. It was every time the ball was in his hands, he was unstoppable.
That's right. And the WHYR Cubs are in classification 3A. They finished the season 10-0, clearly ranked number one in all polls for 3A in the state of Louisiana. They're headed for a showdown. They're headed for the dome almost,
right, I think so. I mean, would take some kind of catastrophic meltdown, and I don't think that's going to happen.
And it's their first year at that classification. The last couple years they've played in 2A. Mm-hmm. You've got Parkview Baptist, the defending champion, who's in that same district with WHYR. Parkview Baptist won the state championship in Class 3A last year.
Sounds like a collision course of the Red Stick.
And they've already played once this year.
Right.
WHYR beat them pretty handed.
Right, so oh boy, it's going to be on.
Last night, WHYR beat Baker 47-6. And the battle of the Panthers last night, Eric. Neither one of these teams are going to the playoffs. However, the McKinley High Panthers defeated the Woodlawn Panthers. And that was McKinley's first district win.
Man, no knock on Woodlawn. I used to live up down the street from Woodlawn, but we've covered McKinley. We've been they've been kind enough to host us 4 times this year.
Right.
For the game of the week on Louisiana All-Americansports.com, and I'm just happy to see those guys get a district win.
That's right. They desperately.
Congrats to Coach Signator and Tyrone Scott and Brandon Butler and Travion Alexander and Joseph Banks and Daniel James and the whole crew. I mean, those kids have worked so hard, and they're a good team, and I'm glad to see them at least get a little piece of the pie before the season was over.
Well, they finished the season 3-7, 1-4 in the district. Woodlawn finished the season 5-5, 1-4 in the district. The final score of that game was 48-42 McKinley. And Southern Lab went to Kentwood last night, man, to play for that district championship. The 6-1A district championship, and Southern Lab gave a valiant effort, Eric. However, they came up short.
No joke, yeah.
They came up short, 25-22.
Wow.
Right. It was a really good football
that
game.
team, we have only gotten to see Southern Lab once. It was early this year. They were obliterated by WHYR, and they didn't look together. Coach Nick Mitchell's got those guys playing. This must be a team that has evolved and developed over the season. I would love to see them now as opposed to back in September. You know what I mean?
That's right. Because they weren't a very good football team then.
How did Derek Pate have anything that stood out on the stat sheet?
Of course, he had an 88-yard kickoff return.
There's a surprise. He may have a heart attack and die from that surprise. Very good job, young man.
Very good job. The Plaquemine Green Devils won District 6 4A as they blew out Terra 41-0. That leaves the Green Devils with a record of 8-2, 4-0 in the district. They'll be seated very high when the pairings come out tomorrow.
All right.
And the last one, our coverage last night.
Yeah, let's get into the Louisiana All-AmericanSports.com game of the week. Of course, we went last night across the river all the way into Iberville Parish, or Iberville as you Baton Rouge folks pronounce it around here. I'm from New Orleans, I say Iberville. Anyway, went down there to White Castle, and they hosted the West St. John Rams, which was a de facto District 8 1A championship game, as White Castle was 3-1 in district play, and of course West St. John was undefeated 4-0 in district play, so all the marbles were on the line last night. Now West St. John is like a factory out there. They keep they've won, correct me if I'm wrong, last year they were defending champions, correct, in the district?
No. Oh, yes.
West St. John
they've won the district the last 3 years.
That's what. Okay, so they are that's including this year?
And that's including this year.
So they are now 3-time district champions. They're a factory over there. They have a very, very loyal following. We saw a lot of fans that made the trek all the way over to White Castle for that game. But we had, of course, Coach Ed Thomas and assistant coach Kevin Jackson were kind enough to host us, and we've been out there once before for their game against Donaldsonville. This is a very good football team, so it's nothing to be taken lightly when I tell you that West St. John beat them 57-22. That you don't just go into White Castle and smack that team around. They're a very good football team. That also speaks to how good the West St. John Rams are. And that's not to say that game could not have been competitive, but a penalty here and a mistake there, and that's kind of where we end up. There was one standout last night for the West St. John Rams who we couldn't get enough of, and we didn't get enough of, and we got a very heavy dose of him, and that was the running back. And also a special team standout, Jeremy Jackson, number 22.
Man, that boy can play.
Oh, wow. It was like we looked up. There was one incident where the Bulldogs, the White Castle Bulldogs, scored a touchdown, and then right on the ensuing kickoff, as soon as we're updating the score, on LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com, we look up and Jeremy Jackson goes down the field for an 80-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Jackson had 4 touchdowns last night, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air, and 1 special teams touchdown. He also had a fumble recovery on special teams. He was just Johnny on the spot, and here's a little Jeremy Jackson for you. There's the pass caught, complete.
Pass incomplete, and it's another touchdown.
Wow, he has the hat trick, Barry.
Jackson on the reception.
Jackson
In the first half.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Howard to Jackson, touchdown.
By the fourth quarter at this rate.
A couple of few.
That was a 31-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter from Austin Howard to Jeremy Jackson. That kid was unbelievable. He's got some agility, some speed powers. Coaches, scouts, if you're listening, you need to check this kid out. He's an athlete.
He's actually got a few schools trying to recruit him, Eric.
Who do we have there, Perry?
Utah. He mentioned others on the interview. Did we have his interview?
Was he our final interview of the evening?
No, the quarterback was the final.
Austin Howard.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Folks, we're gonna dive into the pool by surprise here. I believe this is the Jeremy Jackson interview. You'll find out if it's not very quickly.
Fast, good. The intensity is very high. We got like an Oregon type offense, so we on the ball like every day.
You got anything?
Well, I didn't hear the first part, but first of all, is anyone recruiting you?
Yeah, I'm being recruited from Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss. I'm being recruited from UL, Missouri. That's what it right there.
Okay, so what were your thoughts tonight during this game? What were your thoughts?
I just think I came a long way. I just wanted to play for my senior year. I just want to not let this be the end of the road for me. Just keep going, keep getting better, stay focused, just stay on the right path.
What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is to win a state championship. That's the ultimate goal. We work so hard. for this, so it wasn't given to us. We had to earn it.
Fantastic. You're a phenomenal player.
Thank you.
So that was the running back, Jeremy Jackson. That's a pretty impressive host of schools, from SEC schools to Missouri and Texas A&M all the way to ULL. He's going to have his choice. He's going to be able to do what he wants to do, and that's great. And that's one thing that's I like about high school sports, allowing young people to have these limitless opportunities. I'm digressing a little bit.
Well, he's a little undersized, so I could see him at a ULL or one of those local schools, Louisiana Tech.
Well, he'd be something else at one of those schools.
He
too.
would be. He'd look like he did last night.
Right, exactly. He definitely would start.
Right.
You know.
But then if he's fortunate enough to make it to a Missouri, a Texas A&M, then man, look out.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you, he's gonna have a heavier field of competition.
Right.
Of course,
but eventually, if he keeps working hard, do the things that Coach Valdez has instilled in him, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Coach Valdez's game plan. He mentioned an Oregon offense. That's exactly what we saw. They were in the spread almost every down last night. So we had a chance, speaking of Austin Howard, the quarterback in the Oregon offense. Let's hear the, not the architect, but the implementer, the field general of that offense. That's quarterback Austin Howard of the West St. John Rams.
Austin Howard. Austin, you just won the district championship, the 8-1-8 district championship. Tell me what that means to you.
It means a lot. It means, like, in practice, we work very hard, so to come out here and do this, just perform our craft, I mean, it means a lot to me, but as a team, I know we're trying to get to the big one, and that's the state title.
Okay. Now, you've done a phenomenal thing by going through 3 years in a row not losing a district game. What does that mean for you?
I mean, it all starts in practice. It all starts from Monday through Friday, man. I mean, going hard, going out to practice, working very hard. You know what I mean? Running our gases hard, the little things, running up the field, everything, man. Everything plays a part in coming out here and doing what we got to do.
Okay. What did you see? I noticed when you threw the ball. I don't know number 4's name. What's number 4's name?
Jamon Green.
Okay, so when you threw the slant pass for the touchdown down there, was that a call at the line of scrimmage?
The play was supposed to be a run play, but I audible it because I seen the flat defender came down and the safety trying to stick him from like 13, 14 yards. So I mean, I know I could have hit him in the little void, and I got it there. And he made the play for me and got it.
Great job. Great job. Isn't that we played that entire interview for you so you could see the hear the maturity of that young man.
Yeah.
You know, and let me tell you, when I went to Coach Valdez and asked him, you know, could I interview some of the players, he was like, talk to anyone you want.
See, and that's and you know what? It's interesting because while that interview was playing, folks, you know, I kind of nodded to Perry. You could tell that Coach Valdez is in their heads. All football teams, from the Pee Wee League to the middle school, high school, college, and professional level, but especially at the lower levels, there's an emulation of the coach on every team. You can see it. And if he said talk to any player you want, that means he was confident that they were going to represent the school well. And you could hear it. It starts Monday through Friday in practice, running off the field. This kid's head is screwed on pretty well.
I don't know many high school kids, and I deal with a lot of them.
Right.
I don't know many of them that would have answered those questions the way that Austin Howard did last night.
I was impressed. I mean, this guy's got some kind of college career in his future. I mean, he's and maybe even at quarterback because he's an athlete and he threw the ball well and his head is there. That's half the game at that position.
And in 3 years, the young man, actually 4 years, this is the 4th year, this young man has played in 3 straight semifinal games, 1 state championship game, and they're well on their way to return at least to the semis.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to keeping up and seeing how that progresses. Did we talk to Coach Valdez last night?
Well, we did, but due to time and there's a pretty big game.
Right, yeah. There's some activity going on, so we'll definitely mosey on a little bit from the high school on to the college game. Sit tight. We'll be back in less than 60 seconds. You are listening to Louisiana All-American Sports on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP. Baton Rouge Community Radio. And real quick, let's just to let you know what's coming up on the menu. We're going to talk obviously about Southern University. They hit a significant benchmark last night, and there's another school from Baton Rouge that got on a bus and they went somewhere. Was it Alabama somewhere? Yeah, we got LSU Bama coming up. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Can I kick it?
All right. So we're going to do, are you going to do Southern? I have no Southern intelligence.
All right, we're back at Louisiana All-American Sports. Let's talk about the Southern University Jaguars.
All right.
They are returning to the SWAC championship. But before they get there, they've got a really tough game today against Alabama State. Alabama State is one of the tougher teams in the SWAC. They're on the opposite side of the conference than Southern. They are right now contending. They're trying to meet Southern University in Houston for that SWAC championship. Right now, the Jackson State Tigers lead the way over there with 1 loss. But this Alabama State team only has 1 loss and a vicious running attack.
By the way, just to jump in real quick, if you want to catch that SWAC championship, you can hear it from yours truly and Coach Perry Daniels as Louisiana All-American-Sports.com will be carrying the SWAC championship game live from Houston, Texas on December the 7th, 2013.
So Coach Odom is trying to convince his Jaguars that they need to win a meaningful game. So to keep them inspired and not resting on just being in the SWAC championship, their opponents to date have only won 7 games. Everyone that they've beaten so far this year collectively have only won 7 games.
So it's like they're just kind of clubbing opponents over the head.
Right. So they're making an effort to get a quality win today over this Alabama State team.
Right, which they'll need because they're not going to get much prep before that as they're going to play in the Bayou Classic against Grambling. That should be a walk-in.
Well, they do play Clark from Atlanta the week before that, but that's just as easy as the Grambling game, you would think. Although, Eric, it's tough for me. Grambling has this kid by the name of Chad Williams, and it's tough for me. I don't even know how much he's playing up there at Grambling, being a true freshman.
Right.
But I just don't know if I could ever count a team with Chad Williams on it out.
No, me neither. Just to bring everyone up to speed, of course, those of you that have followed Perry and I in our work on Louisiana All-American-Sports.com, we know we give you a heavy dose of Madison Prep Academy basketball and also Madison Prep Academy sports the past 2 seasons. Chad Williams was both the quarterback of the football team and a key player, forward/guard on the basketball team. And, LSU basketball fans know of Jarrell Martin, who came from Madison Prep Academy. He was the standout on that team, but Chad Williams was really the straw that stirred the drink. And he was the MVP of the Class B championship game. He's just a gifted athlete. He's just a guy who has it, whatever it is, and he's going to bring it to every team on every level. So I hope he's playing this year. I'd imagine with the way that team is, a kid with this kind of talent has to be at least playing ball. And no, I would never count him out either. He's definitely a guy. When his on switch is flipped on, anything's possible.
And he's a little upset with the Southern University Jaguars because they asked him to walk on.
Maybe he wants to walk on over them. I don't know, though.
Anyway, the Alabama State Hornets are 6-1 in conference play in the SWAC, 6-3 overall, where the Southern University Jaguars are 5-2 in the SWAC and 5-4 overall. And again, those 5 opponents that they've beaten have only won a combined 7 games.
So Alabama. So we have 2 teams in Baton Rouge traveling out to Alabama to play a really tough opponent today.
They should start traveling together.
I know, huh? Coincidence? I think not. Hopefully, it brings some good Louisiana mojo out there.
Right.
We have, of course, another game on the menu today. We have the LSU Tigers heading on out to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. That is the CBS, of course, gets to cherry pick its SEC games, which is why a lot of LSU games have been on at 2:30 p.m. to the chagrin of a lot of LSU fans that prefer the environment at night in Tiger Stadium, myself included. But once a year, CBS gets one game in prime time, and that is this game tonight, LSU, Alabama. It seems like it's almost every year that's the one that they're picking to put in prime time, or every other year, and no surprise there. We have a couple of, these schools are always in the conversation at the beginning of every single season for the SEC West Championship and for BCS National Championship contention. Of course, LSU with 2 losses is all but finished. For the BCS, they are not finished, though, for the possibility of SEC competition. By the way, if you want to get on this conversation, 343-9927, 343-9927. So, yeah, LSU going out there, they're going to face Nick Saban. They're going to go out there. Let me tell you something. In regular season play, in the 6 years in the past that the Tigers and Crimson Tide have met each other, the series is split 3-3. So this is, no matter how up LSU is or down LSU is, or up Alabama is or down Alabama is, it's always competitive. Les Miles has pulled some rabbits out of the hat against Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Fake field goals, going for it on 4th down, it doesn't matter. As the LSU Tigers, they're going to bring it. Now, look, we know that. Let's look at the cold hard facts, if you will. LSU has had some challenges on defense this year, to say the least. Their secondary has had a lot of, some lapses, some not relevant, some very, very costly in this game. So they're going to have to really bring their A game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. We have obviously T.J. Yeldon, Alabama. He's going to be the one that LSU is going to have to key in on and stop. He has 729 yards, 10 touchdowns. He is averaging 6.3 yards per carry. But also keep in mind that LSU also has to contend with A.J. McCarron. He doesn't throw the ball a lot, but when he does, my God, he's efficient. You got a guy like McCarron. He has less than 2,000 yards passing this season, but when he does release the ball, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He has a 69% completion percentage. So LSU is really going to have its hands full. Zach Mettenberger, when he's on, is really on. And, Bama's defense, early in the year, we commented that it might be a down year for Alabama's defense. But can you hear me? We commented it might be a down year for Alabama's defense. But, they've been, right now, they're allowing less than 10 points a game all year long. George. And sit tight for 1 second. We just got a buzz in. We got a call, maybe with some inside intelligence on today's game between LSU and Alabama. We are getting a call. Oh my goodness, Perry, is that who I think that is? Is that the fixer on the line, Perry?
That is, Eric. That is.
Wow. All right. Well, let's see what the fixer has to say about today's game. Want to get him on the line?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get in there with the fixer. Get him. Let's see if we got him on the line. Can we hear him? Is he in the building?
Hey, G, you there?
Oh yeah. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, man, you got some intel for us today. We got.
Always got. I got a little intel. I'm a little groggy. Just leave.
Oh, I'm sorry. They couldn't hear the fixer.
Last night.
Go start.
He's good.
Okay. No, our audience couldn't hear him. Start again.
Go ahead, G.
I said, I'm just getting up, leaving the Soul Train Awards, man.
All right. Talk to me about
I gotta keep up my connections with my athletes. How'd you like my work last week?
That was some
Green Bay.
The Green Bay Chicago game?
Oh, the Green Bay Chicago game, bro. It was a whole lot of money due to Cutler was out of the game on Green Bay, so we just had triple check, double check, so it's all good.
The triple check, double check. So wait a minute. So Aaron Rodgers going down, you trying to insinuate that you had something to do with that, G?
Hey, I ain't laying no claim to it, but it's possible.
All right. I understand, G. For those of you that it is your first time listening, G is my homeboy. We grew up together in St. Louis. We've known each other since we were 12. He's now living in Las Vegas, and he has some some unusual endeavors in sporting events. So from time to time, he will drop some knowledge on me about, who's going to win what. So, who's going to win this weekend's games?
Well, right now we got New Orleans is by 7, but they're at home. So with Dallas's inconsistency, you'd have to go with New Orleans, and you can give you have to take New Orleans on that one.
Okay.
And then the Pelicans, we really don't have a line on the NBA 2 days in advance due to the fact that we don't know what the hell they might do. You know what I mean? So there's no line on the Pelicans this weekend.
Okay.
But this is the most intriguing game right here. It's the LSU Alabama game.
Talk to me.
Alabama is they're giving Alabama 11 points. I mean, they're giving LSU 11 points. So, but with the record of LSU at Alabama, you would have to take LSU in this game.
Wow, that's good news out there, Tiger fans.
Take LSU and the 11 points.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would take LSU on it.
Good deal, man. Well, hey, I got to run. You know the deal, man. Stay off the grid, stay out of jail. I'll holler.
Right.
Peace.
All right.
All right.
Well, that was the Fixer, bringing all the hood, all the good of the hood of St. Louis and Las Vegas, Nevada to us. Oh boy! All right, the Fixer. That guy cracks me up.
I'm surprised though. He took LSU in the 11 though. Not LSU to win.
Right. Definitely LSU with the points.
Right.
But still, that's even saying something, which means our Fighting Tigers have a chance today.
Which means our Fighting Tigers have a chance.
I'm going to go on record. I do think Alabama is going to win that game, but I do expect. Here's the thing. I expect Alabama to win if I had to bet money. If I was in the Fixers' little line of work,
right,
I would put money on Alabama. But it would not stun me if LSU found a way to win that game. They have talent to keep up with them. They have the total talent. It's just a matter of things falling into place. And like I said this earlier, Les Miles sometimes can pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Well, Eric, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, and I hear exactly what you're saying. And the logic tells us that Alabama is going to do this thing, which would put Alabama on the fast track to the national championship, man. You got a feeling they're going to slaughter Missouri in the SEC championship, So,
you're good.
Okay. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe the Tigers can pull it out. I don't think so. I'm going to have to go with Alabama here and Nick Saban. Far and away, in my humble opinion, the best college football coach there is that we've seen in this past decade or so. Nick Saban, clearly. He's just something different about him that sets him above. There's guys like Bill Belichick,
right,
Nick Saban,
right,
in the coaching profession that are just a notch above their peers.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Perry.
So we'll see. All right, where are we going next, man?
Well, we're going to be back in about 60 seconds. We're going to bring you some news from the world of professional sports. We're going to talk about the Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin, Miami Dolphins, Bullygate scandal, if you will. If you want to get in on that, 225-343-9927, 225-343-9927. You're listening to 96.9 FM, WHYR-LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio. This is Louisiana All-American Sports. All right, so that was sounds like we went live to the whoopsie daisy. Sounds like we went live to the Fixer's car inside, playing some of that St. Louis country grammar. So let's move on to the world of professional sports. Sports. I'll tell you, I think about this every day about why I love sports so much. It's been a part of my life literally every day since I was a small child, and it's no exception as an adult. And it mirrors life in so many ways, and not to mention watching the athleticism and seeing people do something that we can't do, and so on. But it's just like life, though, not all parts of life are good, and not all parts of sports are good, particularly at the professional level where you have adults involved. But sometimes adults don't act like adults. For those of you that maybe, I don't know, are on the other side of the globe or are only casual sports fans and are dedicated 96.9 WHYR community radio listeners, and your dose of sports comes from us every week, and we thank you for tuning in. Miami Dolphins offensive tackle, second-year offensive tackle, Jonathan Martin, from University of Stanford, left tackle for the Dolphins. He left the Miami Dolphins team week before last, right before their Thursday night football game, their minor upset of the Cincinnati Bengals. Martin left the team for quote-unquote emotional issues. Obviously, that got some people's attention. That doesn't happen every day, and you're wondering if he's all right. Well, that's wondering if he is all right. That story grew legs very, very quickly. It turned out that Jonathan Martin said he was having some trouble with the way his teammates were treating him. So that raised an eyebrow. And then it turns out that, lo and behold, one of the teammates involved would be Richie Incognito. There's a surprise, Perry. I'm going to have a heart attack and die from that surprise. Richie Incognito in player surveys has consistently been voted the dirtiest player in the NFL so many years running, I think I've lost count. Earlier this year in preseason, Houston Texans, they call him the Ninja. That's his nickname. I want to say his name is Antonio Smith, but I might be butchering it. But there was an incident in preseason where Incognito dug in his eye or his crotch or something like that, and Smith took his helmet off and swung it in Incognito's direction. And what happens? Smith gets fined and suspended one regular season game. That's the kind of jerk we're talking about. That's just a sample of it. He was with the St. Louis Rams for a very long time. He was pretty much insubordinate with former head coach and former New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, and was kicked off the team. He was kicked off of the team at Nebraska not once but twice. He was kicked out of Oregon his first day at practice. He is a jerk. He's also supremely talented. So in America, when people have talent, you get some leeway there. So Mr. Incognito, the details really got very unsettling. If you have young children in the car, you might want to turn your radio down for the next 60 seconds. Just because the details of this story were a little graphic. Jonathan Martin is biracial. There was a voicemail that was released to the press that illustrated Incognito calling him a half N-bomb, saying that he would defecate in his mouth, that he made comments about his mother, that he said he would slap his mother. He said, quote, "I will kill you." And not in those words that I used, but we're on the radio. It was a family show still. It was really unsettling stuff that came to light, harassing text messages. And while there were several players that apparently liked to pick on Martin, and maybe he just didn't fit in with the macho Neanderthal Cretan culture of the NFL locker rooms because he went to Stanford, has Harvard-educated parents.
And that's what I find issue with this story, Aaron.
Right.
You know, here we've got a guy, an African-American who graduated from Stanford, who took his education seriously.
Right.
He didn't just play his 4 years at Stanford and walk away.
Right. He could throw the finger and go to law school if he wants to.
Exactly. You know, and here I see this on the high school level with kids. It's not cool to be smart.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, they got a lot of cool mofos in the Miami Dolphins locker room, and Richie Incognito is the coolest. Cool as a fool in a swimming pool, and I put the emphasis on fool. So Richie, oh wait a second, is that the line, folks? Oh my goodness, we have a special guest joining us this morning rather. I wasn't sure if he was going to call, but I reached out to former New Orleans Saints head coach Jim Morris Sr., and we talked last night, and he said he wanted to comment on the Incognito situation. See, we got some connections here at Louisiana All-American Sports. Coach, what you got for us? What do you think about this situation down in Miami?
And I'll say this, those are some sick people, mentally sick.
I agree, Coach. There's definitely something wrong with Incognito treating his teammate that way. What would you tell Coach Joe Philbin of the Miami Dolphins about his players, how to handle his players in a similar situation, going forward? Because this certainly could crop up again. Coach?
And I'll say this, those are some sick people, mentally sick.
Okay, Coach. Well, do you have anything else for us, Coach? How have you been feeling lately?
And I'll say this, those are some sick sick people. Mentally sick.
Okay, well, thank you, Coach Moore. That was former New Orleans Saints and Indianapolis Colts head coach Jim Moore, Sr., commenting on Richie Incognito. But I agree with Coach. He says you got to be sick to treat another human being, a teammate, a brother in the trenches, in wartime like this.
Right, Eric. And you know what? Football players are a rare breed. It makes me wonder, what is that culture in that Miami locker room? I received a story earlier this week on this situation, and it talked about the culture of the Miami Dolphin locker room. And Incognito seems to be, his action seems to be the popular culture of the Miami locker room. And that makes you wonder, well, if that's the case, why would you draft a guy
Right. Who does not fit in.
Who does not fit in.
No. He's not a knuckle dragger. He send in a place that has some educated players and some wins, like the Denver Broncos or something like that.
So hopefully he'll find a new home.
Sick.
Hopefully Martin will find a new home, and more with some folks that are a similar mind as he.
Sick.
I agree, Coach. Thank you, Coach Moore. We got to get him off the line there.
Ask him about the playoffs.
Oh, no. Goodbye, Coach. Thank you. All righty. Well, so, anyway, this situation, Richie Incognito has since been suspended indefinitely from the team. Some of the early word that's coming out is that that the Dolphins are likely going to sever ties with him, although a lot of players have spoken up in his defense, which, would be head-scratching, considering that the NFL is two-thirds African-American, but it tells you right to the culture of the locker room. And, unlike the Riley Cooper story, where Riley kind of made a blanket statement that was really offensive to any decent person, but speaking of African-Americans in general, Richie Incognito was directed at Martin, and it doesn't sound like they like Martin, which is why it sounds like they didn't care what he said to him.
Right.
And that is human nature, folks. That's it's disturbing, but it is kind of the nature of the beast.
You like to think that everyone's going to get along on the team, but that's just not the case. Think about your workplace and the people at your job that you don't really like.
Right.
But you come together and you do what it takes to get the job done.
Right, absolutely.
And you don't offend someone. My dad used to always say, Eric, I don't care if they like me, as long as they respect me.
Right, I totally agree with that. And, it's really unsettling. Some of the things that you're hearing about coming out of there, that they're going to treat a fellow player that way. And, I really hope this works out. I hope that the Miami Dolphins get their act together. So that's unfortunate. We're going to just traverse a little bit to the world of professional sports for a moment.
Are you lazy, lethargic, and soft? Do you lack self-motivation? Are you desperate to jumpstart your productivity? Then you need Richie Incognito's Bullying to Better Business.
Hey, Karen, an account's received. It's Richie. Go yourself. You lazy bitch, I'm gonna in your mouth. I'll kill you.
That's right. Miami Dolphins star and noted bad boy Richie Incognito has all the answers to turn you into the productive member of society you've always strived to be.
What, do you have a vagina?
For just $9.99 a minute, Richie will call you and give you that extra boost you need.
What, are you crying like a little
Get out your credit card and call 1-900-545-5986. That's 1-900-KILL-YOU.
If you don't pick up the pace, I'm gonna cut off your head down your neck.
Or log on to Richie Incognito Bullying to BetterBusiness.net.
Gee, voice fella, thanks. And I'll kill you.
Oh, Richie.
Perry, you got any thoughts on this upcoming game with the Saints and Cowboys and the Louisiana Superdome on Sunday night?
Yeah, man, the Cowboys might as well not even waste their time showing up. No, I heard this about the Cowboys earlier in the season, that if football games were only 3 quarters long, the Cowboys would be undefeated.
I can buy that.
But unfortunately, football games in the NFL are 4 quarters long.
And Tony Romo sometimes goes Tony Romo.
So that makes that makes for an interesting event. I do believe that the Cowboys will come in and play inspired football. Right. It should be a really good football game. The Saints, because of what happened in New York, they're going to do their best. They're going to play at their best to show folks that what happened up there was not who they are.
Well, I absolutely, positively like the Saints in this matchup, and not just because I'm a diehard Saints fan. The Saints are in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Sean Payton has not lost a game there as head coach since 2010, so let that marinate for a second. They haven't lost a game at home in 3 years under Sean Payton.
Right.
The thing is, I don't think the Cowboys are going to make it easy. I mean, the Cowboys have shown they can play up with the best of them. We saw the marathon that they had against the Denver Broncos earlier this season, and how very, very close they came to. They really could have, would have, should have won that game in Big D, but of course Tony Romo reverted to his familiar self in that game.
You know what, Eric? I turned on that game. I didn't have an opportunity to watch that game, but I turned on the score and was just totally amazed that the Cowboys were even that close.
Right.
To the Denver Broncos.
They were in a shootout with the Broncos.
Right.
So Dallas is going to bring the heat. I mean, look, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, and Tony Romo, they can make plays. They can make plays. They can score points. No doubt about that. Drew Brees is going to be ready to roll. I don't know the status of Marcus Colston. He was out last week. I don't know the status of Darren Sproles, who was knocked out very early in that game with a concussion. There are a few question marks there, but I'll tell you what. If they are ready to go, which they should be, and I know Sean Payton's going to have them prepared, they are going to be a very formidable matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. It's off. So, Perry, I guess thoughts on that game? I'm thinking a very close game. I'm thinking it could be a Garrett Hartley field goal that puts the Saints ahead for good, or maybe even a walk-off by Garrett Hartley.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, Eric. Really close game. Last team with the ball wins. I'd like to say get well soon to the Denver Bronco head coach,
John Fox,
as well as the Houston Texans head coach,
Gary Kubiak.
Yeah. Looks like being a head coach in the NFL is becoming hazardous to your health.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful business out there, Perry.
Right. And speaking of the NFL, Eric, I've got another email from the NFL this week.
Really?
Yes, this one.
Let me guess. Does it have to do with the situation taking their bullying down to South Beach?
No, actually it does.
All right, okay. I was just trying to anticipate.
It was from Troy Vincent.
Former Dolphin and Packers player. Yeah, I remember him. Very talented defensive back.
And he was defending the NFL, saying that he and several of his former teammates are doing very well after football, financially and physically.
So he's trying to kind of give some positive press, if you will, to let's face facts. It's been a difficult situation. A lot of players. A statistic came out that 70% went bankrupt within 3 years after leaving the league, and you have concussions. And Tony Dorsett, Hall of Fame running back, spent most of his career with the Dallas Cowboys. He's having symptoms of CTE. That's chronic traumatic encephalitis, something like that. It's a condition of the brain. Perhaps I haven't gotten my medical degree yet, folks, so I apologize for not pronouncing it, but it's what you've seen a lot of NFL players come up with. Dave Duerson, who committed suicide, longtime Chicago Bears player, he suffered from that condition. Future Hall of Fame linebacker Junior Seau, San Diego Chargers, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, he suffered from that condition. He died early. And now Tony Dorsett is suffering from it. He gave a very wrenching interview earlier this week talking about how he's short-tempered and can't remember things. That's just really tough to see. So you have that side of it, and then you have, the fortunate majority who have walked away from the game with everything intact at the moment.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the majority. I'm just not sure.
Right.
If it's a majority. But Troy Vincent clearly came out with the NFL logo straight from the NFL office, sent an email out to several million NFL fans trying to get in front of the NFL machine. They are a marketing machine.
You think?
And this is just being proactive to protect the shield, as Robert Goodell would say.
Roger Goodell is definitely one to protect the shield to no expense, to no end rather. And well, it's look, there are two sides to every story, and we'll continue to keep you updated as some of these unfold, but the bottom line is you can see that Goodell's getting in front of this, and he's made rule changes. While we might not like it, it's kind of the way it is,
right?
And you have to evolve, folks. You have to evolve. And I was watching a highlight reel of these big hits from the 70s and 80s, and the whole while I'm thinking, okay, today that's a penalty, oh, that's a suspension,
that's right,
that's a big fine right there. It's just the game is changing. We're not cavemen, and these are human beings. These aren't robots,
right?
So. He's doing what he has to do for public image, and of course, he still wants moms to allow their children to play the games, to put raw materials, if you will, into their product. Because if you don't have the talent, you're not going to have a sport, and you'll have baseball, in which you have a lot of foreign imports. Not that I have any. I love watching some of our Latino and Asian players play, but you want to have an American homegrown sport. It's just easier for marketing when they speak the language, look like you, have similar backgrounds from you. Went to high school, know what a prom is. Stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't think Roger Goodell wants the NFL to get to that point.
Right. Well, and the documentary, A League of Denial, which if you haven't seen and you love the NFL, I suggest that you see that. In that documentary, they suggest that no one under the age of 9 play full contact football.
That's interesting.
Yes,
that
because the brains aren't developed enough yet, and the continuous blows to the head may cause the brain not to fully develop.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, if you got kids out there playing football, you need to watch that documentary, A League of Denial.
Well, it definitely seems like there's a trifle of denial there in the NFL with some of the activity taking place. Let's talk about a couple of other NFL games taking place as we'll move on from that unfortunate topic. Got one game that you probably did not have circled on your calendar back in August, but it's going to have some significant impact on the NFC playoff race. The Carolina Panthers, who are 5-3, go out to San Francisco to play the 49ers, and I'll tell you, the 49ers got off to a bit of a slow start, but they've since recovered. They've been red hot. The Carolina Panthers have won 4 straight games, and now you're going to have a clash of two very physical quarterbacks in Colin Kaepernick of the 49ers, who can make a lot of plays with his feet and his arm, and Cam Newton, who's like the $6 million, was probably a $60 million man, but kind of like the $6 million man of quarterbacks, with just making plays. If you can stop him from flicking the ball off his wrist 65 yards down the field, then you have to stop him from running over you, and he can do both. Both teams have solid defenses. Both teams have well-grounded running games, no pun intended. I think it's going to be a great matchup out there, Perry, although I do think the 49ers are going to have the advantage in that game.
Stay tuned. Right after the Louisiana All-American Sports Show, we have Noel Jackson. Music Satisfaction.
Coming up at the top of the hour in about 7 minutes.
Right, so stay tuned for that. We've got San Francisco playing
the Carolina Panthers. Hosting the Carolina Panthers.
And you know what? Cam Newton's really playing well right now, man.
He is. He's playing outstanding football right now. Newton, just a look at his stat line is... it's pretty impressive as Newton is averaging over 6 yards a carry when he does decide to take off with the football. His touchdown to interception ratio has improved drastically. 49ers, though, they don't throw the ball a lot. They throw the ball very little, actually. But Colin Kaepernick, when he does chuck the rock, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And, of course, their key weapon is Frank Gore. Frank Gore... has 618 yards already this year, 4.2 yards per carry. I like the 49ers in that one. They're at home. Their defense is fierce. The Carolina Panthers have kind of, I don't want to say they've beaten up on cupcakes. There's no such thing as a gimme win in the NFL, but they have not played the likes of the 49ers. They have to travel to the West Coast. I just think the Niners are going to have the edge in that game.
And you may be right. Coach Jackson's going to love to hear me say this, but I'll go with the 49ers on this one. He's a huge 49er fan. So who else do we have there?
All right, we also have on the roster Actually, for NFL action, those were the real standouts of the day. Actually, there's a black and blue division game. I apologize, I wanted to get to that. The Chicago Bears really surprised us last week as they sucker punched the Green Bay Packers. They hit the Green Bay Packers in the mouth, so to speak.
They did, man, without their starting quarterback.
Right, because granted, Aaron Rodgers was taken out early, and that was significant, and Green Bay had a hard time throwing the ball, but they had Eddie Lacy running all over folks in that game. But Josh McCown, he filled in very well for Jay Cutler, and he looked like, you give him his 15 minutes, he's going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what he did. He managed the offense very well, made timely throws. I was really impressed with what I saw there. Now, Jay Cutler comes back this week. They're going to play at the Lions. The only thing is that the Bears' defense is that they might be the monsters of the Midway traditionally, Perry, but they've not played like the monsters of the Midway. Eddie Lacy ran all over them last week with no threat of the pass from Seneca Wallace, with Aaron Rodgers out of the game, and they ran all over him. The Lions have all those weapons: Megatron, Matt Stafford, Reggie Bush. Even though it's in Chicago, I like the Lions in this game, Perry.
I like the Lions as well, Eric. I like the way that team is built. I think that the Lion team is just built to really make a serious run. They're still a little... they don't have as much talent as some of the upper echelon teams. Right. They're not quite Seattle, the Saints, in that category yet. Right. But they're right there in that next tier.
I agree. They're right there, and they're playing some really good, especially offensively, playing some great football. We saw them against the Cowboys. No timeouts left, minute remaining. They get down the field, score a touchdown. Well, we'll see if we're right or wrong about that. There are always opportunities where we can say, I told you so, and there's some situations where folks could tell us, I told you so. Let's look back at the last week and see who was right, who was wrong.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Last week, Perry, you said you anticipated a bit of an upset. Are you still feeling good about that?
Actually, no, Eric. I'm a Hurricane fan. I mentioned that last week, and I really like that program there.
I go, yeah, there's going to be a lot of offense, that's for sure. I mean, you got Jameis Winston who could just light up the sky. He's a redshirt freshman. He is going to be so good in the NFL if he stays healthy. They have their receiver, Rashad Green, which is pretty much his favorite target, who already has almost 40 catches and 8 touchdowns on the season. That is a lot for a college wide receiver.
Picking against the Miami Hurricanes. But I really think that Florida State's going to pull out a very close game in Tallahassee. It should be very entertaining.
I think that the Saints are probably going to go there. It might not be the blowout that we're hoping for because Rex Ryan's defense, although Cincinnati ran up 49 points on them last week, but I can't see that lightning striking twice, but I think the Saints are going to get a win. At New York.
I think the Saints will get a win in New York as well. The Jets, they play up and down. They're not consistent, and that's characteristic of a very young team, which they are.
Right, with a rookie quarterback.
With a rookie quarterback, which they are.
I do think Green Bay wins that game. That's the last play.
So do I.
Bears have had a lot of trouble on defense where they've traditionally been strong. They don't have Jay Cutler. That game could get really ugly really fast.
We didn't know.
Oh, so the fixer, excuse me, folks, the fixer was obviously in full effect that week, excuse me, as it got ugly really fast, but it got ugly for Packers fans. Quick stories, we got to go, we got 30 seconds left, but those of you that heard the story, there was a married couple, one was a Packers fan, one was a Bears fan, the husband was a Bears fan. They made a bet, whoever's team lost would get zapped with a taser. Well, the wife lost. This fool went and took out his winnings. Zapped his wife, went to jail. What does that tell us, folks? Don't take sports too seriously. It's only a game. So the consequences could be shocking. So anyway, that's all the time we have today. We have Noel Jackson in the building with Music Satisfaction. For Coach Perry Daniels, this is Eric Hatfield. And like we say around this time, have a good afternoon.
ADT, JNS, love you.
Hey.
butterfly.